In today's video, I'm going to give you 7 big tips on how to improve at pitching. If you know my YouTube channel, I'm Coach Dan Blewett. I'm a former pro pitcher, pitching instructor. I owned a baseball academy for a long time. If you know my channel, I give lots and lots of different mental advice, mechanics advice, drills advice, but I've never really done a video like this where it's just sort of the general way to get better as a pitcher. So if you're a beginner or you're a more advanced player, you've been pitching for quite a long time, this video is still gonna, I think, give you some guidance and make sure you can check off each of these different buckets. Are you filling all these different buckets? And is there something maybe you're forgetting that can help you become a better pitcher? So in today's video, I'm gonna give you some good tips on how to improve as a pitcher. Number 1 is a mental tip. You have to get really good at focusing on only this single pitch. And it's really easy as a pitcher to think, all right, I need to give my team 6 good innings today. I want to throw 7 shutout innings, right? Or I'm going to get 3 innings in relief and I want to go 3 shutout, 3 strikeouts. If you start thinking about outcomes, everything is going to get worse. The only thing you can control is this next pitch. Pitchers get in trouble when they start looking to the future. How am I going to get out of this jam? How am I going to get out of this inning? This big hitter is scary. I want to throw 5 shutout innings. When you start thinking about those things, which are beyond your control, everything gets worse. But if this big scary hitter is walking up and you just think, all I got to do is execute this one pitch, and then when you do that, you repeat. It's now 0-1, I've got 1 pitch. It's now 1-1, I've got 1 pitch. And you keep piecing the game together that way. That's the absolute best mindset you can have as a pitcher. Number 2, be aggressive with the white part of the strike zone. Too many pitchers go up there and they're trying to attack the black of the plate. And look, that's a good pitching strategy if you're Tom Glavine or you're Greg Maddux or you're Max Scherzer or you're Clayton Kershaw when you have that kind of command. And major league hitters are amazing. You can't pitch in the white of the plate very much and be a successful major leaguer. However, I will tell you that major league pitchers are aggressive strike throwers. They are not afraid for hitters to put the ball in play. They know it's part of the game and they welcome hitters swinging and putting good quality pitches that they made into play. They make a good pitch on the outer third with a fastball. They want a hitter to swing it back because they know they're going to get that ground out double play quite a lot on that pitch, right? As a young pitcher, you have to get comfortable first with pitching in the white of the strike zone. It gives you more margin of error to miss and still be ahead in the count. And when you're ahead in the count, then you can throw your breaking ball, your changeup more because those are going to be lower percentage pitches and you need to be ahead in the count so you can give yourself a little more buffer to miss with those off-speed pitches, right? And hitters expand the strike zone when you're ahead in the count. They start to get defensive and they start to swing at more stuff than they would if they were ahead. So be aggressive. Don't be afraid for hitters to put the ball in play. They're going to get themselves out quite a lot, so let them do it. Number 3, focus up on your catch play. When you play catch with someone, ask them, hey, can you put your glove on your hip right now? Or can you put it on your hip pocket? Or can you move and give me targets? Once you've warmed up and done your drills, towards the end of every catch session, pitchers will either do a flat ground, which is when their partner gets down and they pitch just from flat ground, maybe 50, 60 feet, whatever, a little short in distance, 50, 55, or 45, depending on your age. And they'll throw like 15 pitches, just like, as if they're pitching to a catcher. Too often, pitchers just get in this lazy routine of, I'm just throwing to get my arm warm, and they're just throwing to like a 6-foot circle, basically. It's like they're throwing to a first baseman, when their job is to hit spots and be as precise as they can and get better over time. So if you want to get better over time, every time you pick up a baseball should be an opportunity to work on your focus and hitting different spots. Next, if you want to improve your mechanics and improve as a pitcher, and those two things do go hand in hand, get in front of a mirror or go buy a mirror at Home Depot or Walmart or Menards or wherever and find a little place in your house or your apartment or wherever and put a mirror up and do your mechanics over and over with a water bottle half filled in your hand or a towel or nothing or just your bare arm and repeat your delivery in the mirror. Lots of parents put comments on my YouTube channel or send me an email and say, my kid is not very good at the windup and maybe they should just go from the stretch. What do you think? And I think they're not practicing enough because the windup is not very difficult. It's a couple little steps. And if your kid can't do it properly, if that really derails them, if you can't do these really basic things at a young age and it just throws everything to chaos, do you really expect to be a pitcher who's expected to go out there and win against really great teams and be resilient and pitch on different mounds, different weather conditions, when it's raining, when it's super windy? You have to be resilient as a pitcher. And part of that resilience is repeating your delivery really well, no matter what. And if you want your mechanics to be more consistent, do them in a mirror and look for similarities and just do the rote practice. Do the boring, tedious practice in a mirror and see what you're doing. Give it 10, 15 minutes a night and you'll see a dramatic improvement in your consistency and just the ease at which you repeat your delivery. Next, if you want to improve at pitching, you should consider making long toss a regular part of your toolkit. So that means maybe a long toss once a week, maybe twice a week in the off season or a time when you're working on more mechanics and not competing as much. But long toss is great because it forces you to extend, it forces you to shift your weight well, it forces you to go uphill with your shoulders. It teaches a lot of positive aspects of mechanics that are relevant for then when you're going to go downhill on a mound. So long toss, I think, has a lot of benefits. I don't think you should be bombing it out and throwing 45 degrees. There's been some research that shows that puts more stress on your elbow. Do I think that's the end of the world if you do it here and there? No, I don't. But I think long toss has a lot of benefits, one of which is command. If you can hit your partner at the chest or even just pretty accurately from 180 feet, 200 feet, 250 feet, or even 300 feet, that's a very accurate throw. Really consider using long toss not only as a way to get better mechanically and to, stretch your arm out and get some of the velocity benefits, but also your command. Because again, if you're hitting your partner in the chest pretty regularly from a long toss distance, that's a very high degree of accuracy. Next, if you want to improve your pitching, you do need to practice off a mound regularly. The common misconception, though, is that you should always throw full speed when you're on a mound. Most pitchers, they throw their bullpens at 50 to 75%, especially during the season. As a starting pitcher, you don't throw full speed at all between starts, basically. You'll throw like a half-speed bullpen. Some pitchers throw two bullpens. One's a little shorter, one's a little longer, one's a little higher velocity, maybe like 75% effort. The other one's maybe 50% effort. Relievers in pro ball almost never throw off the mound unless they haven't pitched in like maybe 4 or 5 days. But especially if you're a young player or you're a beginner or an adult league pitcher, it's not good to just get out on the mound only when you pitch in a game. That's going to be really tough. You want to at least get 1 to 2 days of mound work, even if it's just like drills or doing dry work if you don't have anyone to throw to, or even if you're just throwing to a backstop or a net. Anything just to get to the feel of your downhill mechanics, going down and off a mound, is a really big positive. So make sure you're getting off the mound enough during the week to continue getting better at it, because throwing off flat is not the same as throwing off a mound. Next, hone your routine. Before you're going to go in, how much do you warm up? When do you start warming up? What kind of things do you do to get your body loose? Do you do sprints? Do you run a couple poles? What do you do and why? How much of it do you do it? How much break do you give yourself between your calisthenics portion or your running portion, between your throwing portion of your warm up? How many throws are you going to make in the outfield? How many throws are you going to make in the bullpen? When are you going to get to full speed? Is it in the outfield, or do you just play catch in the outfield and get sort of warm and then get to full speed in the bullpen? Honing your pre-game routine before you go in, especially as a starter, is very important. What do? Most pitchers don't figure this out until way late in high school, and then they perfect it in college because they don't have these conversations where someone really sits down and says, why are you doing everything that you do? Why are you warming up 20 minutes before the game starts? Or you're warmed up 20 minutes before the game starts. I see that at tournaments all the time. Kids go out, the starting pitcher on another team, they go through their throwing, they go to the bullpen, and then they walk in the dugout and it's 20 minutes before game time and they get cold again. That's counterproductive. That's going to make you worse when game time hits. Our pitchers, we would time it. We would map out everything they were going to do. All right, so if we're going to do all these different things and it takes 24 minutes and you want to be in the dugout 4 minutes before the game time, then you're going to start your routine 28 minutes before the game. Oh, but we want to build in 2 1-minute water breaks, so we're going to start 30 minutes before the game. And then we're going to start with our running. That takes 6 minutes. Then you're going to play catch. That's 6 minutes. Long toss for 4 minutes. And then the bullpen for 11 minutes. 5 minutes from the windup. 4 minutes from the stretch. 2 more minutes from the windup. Whatever it is. That's how pros do this. And everyone can start doing that when they're young. So work on your pregame routine. Write it all down. Map it all out. And stick to it. My last tip for today on how to improve as a pitcher is throw your off-speed stuff every time you play catch. Not full speed, but every time you play catch after you've warmed up and done a bunch of pitching drills that sort of bring you farther away, and then maybe you stretch it out, maybe a long toss, then when you come back in to 60 feet with your last 20 to 30 throws, or however many you have, that's your time to spin some curveballs, spin some changeups, spin some sliders, whatever it is you throw. If you want to screw around, throw a couple knuckleballs. That's all fine to tinker with. Working on your feel and tinkering with grips and just refining your spin is something every high-level pitcher does. But a lot of times younger players, when they think of warming up, they just go out there and throw. And they think about, I want to get my arm loose, but they don't think about, okay, I need to sharpen all of my knives. Your knives are your pitches, right? Every time a great chef goes into the kitchen, they make sure all their station is clean. They make sure all their knives have been sharpened. They make sure everything is ready to go. Same thing with high-level pitchers. As a reliever, before a game, I would maybe throw 45 throws, depending, and they'd all be like catch speed. I would make sure I spun 3 or 4 or 5 curveballs, 5 or 6 changeups, and a bunch of cutters, because I was throwing a cutter in my last 3 seasons. I would make sure I threw a couple every single day. You're just getting the feel for it, even if it's not full speed. And especially as a younger player, that's when you're going to develop this pitch. Just get comfortable, get your reps in. So make sure you're throwing your off-speed stuff every time you touch a baseball. Not hard. Don't go throwing full-speed curveballs every day. That's not what I'm saying. But make sure you're just tossing it in there and getting a handful every time you play catch. These are some of my best tips about how to improve as a pitcher. Certainly not my all-encompassing tips, but some really good ones and some good refreshers, whether you're a beginning pitcher or a more advanced pitcher. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and I'll see you here in the next video.